So our mission is to decouple the dairy and meat industry and promote kind milk practices. So, a core team of 5 people and an extended team of 20 people have been working on doing research. We have conducted meetings with various dairy farmers, and we have also visited dairy farms and goshalas in our area in California. So, about the dairy industry. Dairy industry is all about volume. Is that what we learned from our dairy farmers? That the cows are made to overproduce milk and they wear out in just 3 years, whereas their actual life is 25 years and they can easily produce milk for 8 to 9 years. But the cows overproduce milk, like they produce 10 gallons a day. And then within 3 years, they are just totally worn out and they are not good for milk anymore. And as soon as their milk production drops, it means that they are profitable for some other things other than milk, which is leather, meat, and stuff like that. And by chance, if a male calf is born, then male calf is of no use. The male calf is not going to produce milk ever in his life. So he is good only for one thing, which is veal. It's an exotic meat variety for just born baby calves. Now, we also learned something that we were not aware of, is that the food that is fed to cows is mostly it has to be protein rich, and a lot of the protein comes from chicken manure. Chicken manure is the waste from poultry farms. Okay. And then this whole food is fermented and pickled and it was being fed to the cows, and that's what makes the milk acidic and inflammatory. The natural food for cows is grass or alfalfa hay. The other thing that we learned about the dairy farming practices is something called dehorning. Dehorning is a process where it's an extremely painful process where they remove the horns of cows so that they don't become a liability, they don't hit each other, they don't bump into other cows and stuff like that. And the USDA did a survey that nearly 70% of the dairy farms who were doing dehorning were doing it without anesthesia and any pain medication. And there are various very, very painful ways of doing it. Hot iron method, as you can see in the picture, or curved knife or surgical wire cutting, or just applying some very, very burning caustic paste that kills the growth ring of the horn, and there is a risk of causing injury to the eyes or other tissues if it touches the other areas. The other thing that they do here is branding. It's a hot iron method. They use a very, very hot iron to do branding on the cows so that they can specify which cow belongs to which farm when they are grazing in open fields. That is also something we learned from a dairy farmer who comes here and delivers milk. The other thing that they do is they need to keep bulls for breeding and stuff. But they cannot have bulls, without doing castration. They have to do castration. That means that they remove their ability to reproduce so that the bulls are not aggressive, and then they are not a liability and they can do cattle management. And the procedure is again very, very painful, as you can read on the slide here. There are very, very painful processes to do this. Now, all of this was something that many of these things we didn't know. Now, what we are trying to do, we are dreaming about kind milk. Our mission is to have cows as priority and not a commodity. We want to give a calf its fair share of milk. We want the calf to stay with its mom for however long it's required to be. We want our cows to live for 25 years. Right now, the cows are killed after 3 years. They consume milk. Once the milk drops, they are definitely sent to slaughterhouses. We were told by a dairy farmer that they buy a cow for like $2,000. After 3 or 4 years, when the milk production drops, then they sell it for $1,500. So, they are making their money. They are not going to keep the cows who are ailing or not keeping up with the volume. So we want our cows to live for 25 years and through the end of their natural life. We want any male calves that are born to live their life. We want the cows to have a natural number of pregnancies and not forced pregnancies throughout their life cycle to keep getting milk from them. And we want to promote kind practices like, no chains, no sticks, no yelling and stuff like that. We want the cows to be brought up in a very, very loving environment, and we want the cows to feed on grass, which is their natural food. Now, this definitely is a huge undertaking. We have been doing a lot of research on various financial models. It's a very new concept, and now, in order to commit anything or pick any one model of operation, what we are looking for is, we need commitment from people that if we start something like this, how many people are willing to consume this milk, right? The cost of kind milk is going to be the cost of milk that is there. Let's say $5 right now. We pay $5, about $5 per gallon. Now, we also want to save some amount in our NGO organization that we would create for the retirement of that cow. And we want to factor in that cost of retirement for that cow in the cost of milk that we will be consuming right now. So if we are buying milk for $5 a gallon right now, the kind milk will cost 5 plus, let's say, $5 more, $8 to $10 per gallon for the kind milk. And that is the real cost of milk. That is the cost of milk. Otherwise, everything else is just cruelty. It's just unfair advantage of the cow. So we want your commitment. We want you to, let us know that you support this cause, and how much demand would you have once we start this, so that we know how many cows do we want to start with. We can talk to the dairy farmer and then go from there. Please let us know if you have any questions. We are really looking forward to your responses and your support for this project. That'll really help us decide how we want to go, and how do we want to start, and where do we want to start from. Thank you very much.